Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Retail campaign, hosted on the Telegraph Online. I'm George Banner, and today I'm talking about how apps can help increase customer engagement and loyalty with Mike Duffy from Cartful. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, George.
Mike, building a retail app isn't cheap. Given that in mind, is it worth it?
In summary, yes, but certain key KPIs need to be met. So as a retailer, you need to ask the question, is the app adding to my bottom line? Is it helping me engage with my customers? And is it helping me bring in new customers? If the answer to those questions is no, then it's easy to see why an app wouldn't be worth it. But there are certain features and certain ways to make an app beneficial to the customer. And that's what we look at when we talk to our clients. So to answer your question about the cost, ultimately, if the app is built in-house, it's going to be way more costly than actually licensing the software. So what we would say to our clients again is just look at the most cost-effective way. What are the features that you want? And ultimately go from there.
What's the added value of an app, say, compared to just a mobile version of your website?
So there are a number of features that make an app differentiated from a website. And we would probably categorize them into two areas. One, user experience. Two, engagement. To take the user experience, if you think about the apps we use on a daily basis, the social media apps, the chat apps, they all have the same great user experience, that they're simple, they're easy to use, the navigation's great, the checkout is frictionless. These are the common features that people expect in apps, and retail apps should be no different. And then to take the engagement piece, once the customer has gone to the trouble of downloading your app, there needs to be a reason for them to keep coming back. And push notifications are a great way of doing that because it's a direct line to the customer, and you can send them product recommendations, you can integrate customer support, so it's an ongoing conversation that keeps them engaged.
So obviously a website's not going to be able to do all those things. So what about the scenario where you've got your executive board, they're looking at across the whole company, all the kind of different channels they have, and they're just saying, look, the app isn't bringing us any new customers, why are we keeping it?
That's actually a question we get asked quite a bit, and as a retailer where your app isn't working, it's very easy to say, we'll just dump it and focus on the mobile website. What we would say to our clients or potential clients is that look at what your customers are doing, look at how they're interacting with you already. 60-70% of traffic is coming from a mobile device, but on top of that, reports and surveys have shown that customers actually prefer the app experience, that up to 60-70% prefer that, and also that checkout is 3 times more likely to happen in an app than in a mobile website. So the metrics are telling us that people prefer the app experience. It's up to the retailer to make sure that the features and the navigation are there to make it happen.
What about the fact that technology moves so fast? Is there a chance that then eventually your app becomes outdated?
App technology, like any sort of technology, will become dated if it's not kept up to date or evolutions have been brought into it. What we would say, and again this is with our clients, is use the licensing technology of apps. What we do at Cartful is we help them launch apps, bespoke apps, using existing infrastructure. So a lot of the heavy lifting is done already. And we bring in the features that we know the customers will use, that will help engage them, help get them through the journey of actually making purchases as well. So that is definitely an option to look at. But also we help clients benefit from feature updates because we're constantly innovating and updating our platform so that they're benefiting from the features as well.
So, that kind of leads me into my next question. It seems like with apps, there's a sense that part of the battle is getting someone to download it, but then often, you use it once, then it kind of goes into the app graveyard on your phone. So how do you get people to download it but then keep engaging with it and keep on using it?
To get a customer to download an app, there needs to be a hook, that compelling reason to have that app on your phone in the first place. And in retail, the best way to do that is through rewards or loyalty. Having an app is a great way to integrate a digital loyalty program. So instead of having plastic cards that people have to carry around in the wallet, you can actually have a digital loyalty card in the app so that the customer again can collect their points if it's a point-based program, redeem their points all through the app without any other sort of technology needed. And that's a good reason to have the app in the first place.
So could you give me a kind of real everyday practical example of that?
An example would be with one of our clients who had a new clothing range for kids, and they wanted to do a campaign to send to the parents of those kids, but not just a campaign that just targets all their customers. They wanted to get a bit more specific using data. The app allowed us to collect the data on the customer, so we got to know the profile of the children, the age, the gender, their location, their sort of interests, but we also use previous transactions as well. So what we did is we collected that data, we segmented the customers into different groups, and ultimately then we were able to send specific messages to specific customers knowing the profile of their children. So the likelihood of engagement there is far higher than with a generic email.
Are we facing a situation where apps are taking business away from the high street, from the store, or is there a scenario where they can support and complement each other?
So I spoke about how an app can be different from a website. When it comes to the store, there are certain features again that an app can bring it closer to the store. I suppose the one that people would be most familiar with would be geolocation services. So actually using the app to identify where the customer is and where their local store might be. This can help you drive campaigns at a store level. So ultimately, if you're a retailer that's selling books and you have a book signing coming on with a celebrity coming in, you can target customers around that area, around that store, to again send a more relevant message to the customer and ultimately increasing chances of them engaging and coming into your store.
Do we have a point in the future where we won't actually, that apps will become redundant, people won't use them, there'll be a new invention or a new sort of creation that people will be using?
Maybe in 10 years' time, but I think for the next decade, apps will still be a big driver and the growing sales channel for retailers. If you look at what Google are doing, they're talking about bringing in the concept of instant apps. Now, instant apps is essentially a way where you go to the retailer's website, and if they have a mobile app, what it'll actually do is it'll actually load the app instead of the website. So from the customer's perspective, you get the app experience, you get the checkout flow of the app without having to go to the store or have it stored in your phone. So the benefit there for the retailer is actually they get the customer to engage fully on their app. They don't almost need a mobile website. And then if you're a retailer that doesn't have a mobile app, you're looking at your competitors and saying, well, maybe I need to be thinking about an app now because ultimately they're getting way more sales than I'm getting. So it's definitely the way it's going, and ultimately retailers need to be thinking about it. I suppose we're careful, that's why we're in the game, because we want to make it easy for retailers to launch apps with the features that we know the customers will want and help them increase their sales.
Mike, thank you very much.
Thanks, George.